My name is Chad Hornfeld. I'm a success manager here at Eloqua. My role actually is on the success management team as a regional manager on our customer success team.
My name is Jocelyn Brown. I'm a customer success manager at Eloqua.
My name is Adrian Chang. I am a customer success manager at Eloqua.
One of the most important parts of a lead scoring project is to decide what you're going to do with that score.
So in terms of the way we talk about scoring, we look at scoring from two dimensions. One being fit. Are they the target person? Do they have the right role? Do they give you the right data? And then engagement. Are they looking at the high value things that would give you a sense of their level of interest? Did they participate in events? Are they looking at high valued content, etc.?
Fit versus engagement. And I think engagement's a very common term now, and if you pair the two together, you think of, if I have personas in my company that identify my ideal buyer, that's going to be your fit, that's going to be your explicit criteria, that's going to be things that probably don't change a ton. And then your implicit is really, how engaged are they with me at this point in time? And that engagement score is the one that's going to be the most variable and the most sort of important in terms of engaging a sales rep.
So ideally, with those two dimensions, and let's say fit is a letter and the engagement is a number, you essentially have a matrix. Let's say it's 3 by 3, where you have an A1 and a C3. Ideally, depending on where they sit, you could have an action plan that says whether or not A1s go directly to sales, C3s you nurture, and then if you look in the middle, what do you do with B2? In some instances, you may want to send an email that says, here's your sales rep, and introduce them in the email, but then have a different action plan for every square in that matrix.
So if we see an A1 lead and we're looking at that particular individual, that's your highest rated lead. That's someone that should be called immediately. Because what that's demonstrating is that they've matched that profile, that sweet spot that your team has defined, where they've met all those criteria, they're ready to buy, they're the perfect industry, and then when they have a 1, that means that they've been visiting your website, they're highly active, they're demonstrating all that digital body language, it looks like they're ready to buy. So that's someone that you want someone to be following up with immediately. So if someone that you're following up with and it looks like they're doing a lot of activity on your website, but maybe they're a C-rated lead, they're sort of lower on those explicit criteria. So one of the things that we're finding that inside sales and demand gen teams are doing is they're looking at, okay, here's someone who's interested. Why are they interested? Are they doing research for someone else on their team who may be the decision maker? And so what we're finding is they're using the lead scoring information to call into those particular companies and try and access and who are those other people that may be making those decisions.
How do you allocate points based on activities? There's a couple of ways for you to do it. For those that have had a process in place to monitor what their wins, what the contacts who have made a purchase from them previously, there's a way for you to go back and look at the things that they've done and go back and look at a pattern. That's one place to start.
When it comes to website content and lead scoring, I actually try to get my customers to be a little bit ruthless with what's on their website and start really honing in on what's a truly valuable piece of information and a true indicator of a stage within a sales process that's going to be of interest to their salespeople.
Another option is to talk to sales. Sales may very well have white papers, points to your website, things that they tend to bring up and push contacts to, their leads to, without marketing's knowing. And that tends to always happen.
Asking your salespeople what they think and maybe what they even send to prospects is a good part of that exercise, but almost to be ruthless. Really don't, if there are pages out there that are really filler and they know what they are because they probably wrote them, then that's what they are and treat them as such. You want to hone in and focus on what's really driving value for that prospect.
This is where marketing has to work outside of its normal box that it may be working in, and that is, say, working with inside sales, working with sales team, maybe if you have business development reps or demand generation reps, and ask them what are those particular documents. It could be a white paper, it could be a case study. What pieces of information are really key in terms of the buying process?
How long should sales have to follow up with the lead that you give them? It varies. I think there's studies out there that show that as soon as you give the lead to sales, you should have them follow up within a 24-hour period. There are ways for you to set up notifications to monitor people to make sure that you're following up on the right time frame. In terms of the actual time frame, following up with the ones who are showing the highest level of engagement within a 24-hour period, but no longer than a 7-day period, is the standard that I tend to hear among most clients.
So with those highest rated leads, those people that are demonstrating a high amount of interest in your products and services, the best response you'll get is following up almost immediately.
And the one I most often hear is a 24-hour for any A's and B's and sort of 72 hours for anybody else, or something along those lines.
In terms of building the right SLA between marketing and sales, 48 hours I would say is an appropriate SLA, and after that time sales should have time to research the information on the lead that they've been passed, look at the type of behavioral activity that contact has had, and should have had an opportunity to make a call. Should marketing claw back leads?
Now, if marketing has passed over qualified leads to sales, and there's that agreement that sales is going to pick up, say, the leads within a certain amount of time, it may be best to actually have those leads actually flow back into your marketing programs. It can be a nurturing program.
Yeah, clawback on leads is definitely something that, again, it depends a little bit on the customer's product or sales cycle. If you've really done your lead scoring process and thought it all the way through, including all the operational metrics that you want to put in place on your CRM side to look at days within a stage, if you have a really good control of those, you can see where the bottlenecks are on your process, and I think there's a great opportunity for marketing to claw back and actually remarket to them.
I think now more and more marketing's role is also to have a sales productivity enhancing impact, and they should do a clawback, especially in the event where sales may very well be involved with the highest value prospects. At least if marketing is able to do a clawback, there's that whole concept of no lead left behind. Every lead is at least covered, regardless of whether or not sales has had the opportunity to make the call or not.
Your salespeople are not necessarily paid to nurture. I absolutely think that having very clear operational metrics about days spent in status or stage, and then acting on that where you see some bottlenecks, is a very powerful way to drive efficiency both in marketing and sales, and make sure that marketing is really getting credit for all of the quality leads that they're passing through.
Should sales be allowed to cherry pick leads?
So you may have a situation where sales are continuing to take really what they see as the best leads or cherry picking leads. Really what that means, if that's happening, it means that sales and marketing are out of alignment.
Because there could be a number of reasons. One could be that they don't understand what they're getting out of scoring, and you have some work to do in terms of proving that your scoring is actually going to have an impact on what matters to them, and that's probably their commission check.
It's going to happen, and I think when it does happen, what you should do is look for anomalies in the scoring program. There should be a rule that says sales should participate in the scoring matrix and also live and die by it. But in the instance that they don't, it's a perfect opportunity to see if there's any anomalies with the scoring program that would cause the salesperson to deviate from the matrix.
Lead scoring is extremely important because it will prioritize those leads and make sure that they're followed up with immediately.
So if I were to start with one piece of advice, it's work very closely with sales to understand who is it that they like to talk to. What are the things that they consider is the definition of somebody who's a qualified lead that they want to talk to?
Why do you score leads? Because it makes your sales team better.